In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to replace your clutch or your manual transmission. This is my 2007 335 IS I just picked up as a project. The clutch is slipping, so we need to replace it to get it going. I already did some of the stuff, as you can see, so I got it lifted up. That's the first thing you want to do. So get it up on jack stands as high as you can go. You're going to have to remove your exhaust. And I would recommend the tranny jack, but I mean, other than that, you're just gonna need some Torx, some wrenches, and normal sockets, and a clutch alignment tool, the most important part. But let's get to it. All right, so now I'm getting the exhaust off. So you just literally have to pop out these pins and these grommets, and then you can take it off. These are kind of a pain. So these, this metal thing is kind of like bent, if you can see. And that just kind of makes it a pain to slide out. So I was hammering this and I straightened that out a little bit, and they popped out a little bit easier. A little bit of oil also helps a lot. So I got this off, and we just have to unbolt this. So no popping this off, just unbolting this. Same with this side. And I did these, and then there's just that metal cross brace there. And the rest of the exhaust is loose, so the exhaust should come off. One thing I noticed is this car has a tow hitch. When you look at that, E90 with a tow hitch. So that's pretty interesting. I hope the flywheel's okay. You know, I don't know how high my hopes are seeing this. That flywheel's probably shot, but we'll see. All right, of course this happens. So I said I was gonna just unbolt this right here, but it's just spinning and nothing's really happening. So I'm not sure why. It doesn't look like it's been touched before. There's not a nut on the back. It's literally just like a riveted screw. So I'm gonna have to pop this out, which might suck. Hopefully this side is not the same, but yeah, wouldn't be a project without that, right? And just like that, she's out. So now we just gotta slide this out from under the car. Once we get this out, we'll drop the heat shield and remove the drive shaft and the brace, and then remove the tranny bolts, and it should let it come down. There's a few more things we have to do, but yeah, let's get to it. Here she is. This thing is pretty beat up. There's a lot of, I don't know if this is supposed to be like that, but there's a lot of indentations all throughout. It's pretty banged up. So I don't know if this exhaust is any good. See what I mean? It was misfiring and couldn't figure it out. And then I removed the O2 sensor to bypass, you know, so it could flow and it stopped misfiring. So I don't know if the cap was clogged, the stock cap, or if there's something, you know, that's not letting the exhaust flow. I don't know what these look like either. There could be something blocking this. I have no idea. But I'll look through it, see if there's anything in it. If there's nothing in it, we'll throw it back on, see if it misfires. If it does, we know it's this banged up exhaust. But now that all we have to do is remove the heat shield, and then we should be able to see the drive shaft and the transmission, and we should drop it pretty soon. And so now under the car, we can see the heat shield. So these heat shields run all the way to the front, up until the transmission. So it's like an assortment of like 10 millimeters, and I think there's a few 8 millimeters. Yeah, like on this, you're gonna have to remove this and all those. So I'm gonna get these heat shields removed, and then we should be able to see the drive shaft. All right, so now that we got all that stuff off, now we just gotta disconnect the drive shaft from the transmission. You're gonna wanna remove these 3 bolts right here. And my setup is, I'm using, these are both 18 millimeters, so I'm using obviously a ratchet and a wrench. And then it's kind of nice because this actually holds the wrench, so you just gotta loosen this. You might want to have a buddy help you so you can put it in first gear, and then put the parking brake on, and then you can just kind of loosen this without this spinning. So yeah, that's what I do to hold the wheels. And we'll get this off, and then these I believe are 14 millimeter, 13 millimeter, I don't know, I'll have to check. And then once we disconnect this, we're just gonna kind of let this hang. We're gonna wanna like support it with something. You You don't want it to sag too much. And then that's basically it for the back end of the car. All the other work is gonna be up here, the bell housing bolts and this brace. All right, so we got the drive shaft off, as you can see. Let's put the bolts back in so I don't lose them. And so this is your shifter assembly, obviously. And then, so to remove this, you can't just drop the tranny. What you have to do is, if you see that pin right there, if I can get this to focus. If you see that pin right there, it's kind of up there, but you might want to use like a small screwdriver. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but you want to lift up on this part right here, and then it basically slides out this way. And then once it slides out, you can pull this out. And then there's another one on the other side as well. This one might be a little bit easier to get to. But yeah, it's just that little tab. It has like a little indentation where it goes in. If you lift up on it, you should be able to slide it out. And then you should be able to separate the shifter assembly from the transmission. All right, so I got both of the sides off. This pin and that pin over there, you can't really see it. But, so after you get those two off, you're gonna wanna get this one out. This is for the actual shifter. So I already took it off and I put it back on, but all you do is you basically lift up on this and slide out. So see, I already got it with my hands, so it doesn't take much force. You can do it with your fingers. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna support the transmission. I'm gonna put a jack under here. I'm gonna lift it up a little bit, and then we're gonna loosen these transmission bell housing bolts, which are 13 millimeter. I'm also gonna take off this dumb exhaust hanger. I mean, it's just in the way. So take that off. I mean, I'm on jack stand, so it's kind of crowded under here. I don't want to get hit by that, but yeah, take that off and then support it, and then we'll lower it a little bit. And that should give us access to look in there and get the bell housing bolts. All right, guys, so I gotta feel the bell housing bolts off. Got the bottom ones. These are E10, I think, or you can use an 8 millimeter 12 point, just a normal socket. And then you have these right here, which I believe are E16. I did have one break on me, as you can see. Thankfully the head is gone, so I should be able to remove the transmission, no problem. But I guess it just kind of seized in the block because this wouldn't come out. And then I'm getting this one out right here, and I'm just using like a regular socket. Let me see. So I'm using like a 14 millimeter, and it actually grips the bolt way better. As you can see, it sits like almost flush. So that might be, I think I'd rather use, honestly, like just a normal socket than E-sockets for these. And then there is a top one, an upper one, as you can see. And it's the same size as this. And then there's one 8 millimeter E8 right there. And then there is another one up there. I don't know what size that is yet. I think an 11 millimeter would fit, normal regular 11. And then there is two more on the top, which you can't see from here. I was trying to tilt the transmission down so that I could get through it from back here, but without removing the engine mounts, it doesn't really sag that much. So instead what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna remove the intake manifold, which is pretty easy. It doesn't take long. I don't know why people say it takes forever. It takes me like 5-10 minutes. So if you've done it a few times, it should only take you like 10 minutes to remove. And then you should be able to get even that bolt from up there, from the top, and you can just get all the bolts from the top. I think that's the best approach. I would hate to get these from here. Personally, it's way easier for me to just remove the intake manifold. But, I mean, I guess do as you please. I have seen people just sag this down and then reach in from the back and remove them. But this is how I'm gonna be doing it today. So I'm gonna see if I can get that other bolt up there, because I don't think you can get that one from the top. And then once that's done, everything else is from the top. And then we should be able to drop the tranny. I got this loose. Shifter linkage off. Oh, and then one more thing. You obviously want to remove your slave cylinder here. So all I'm gonna do is remove this nut right here. It looks like a 13 millimeter maybe. So you remove that, and then you'll be able to remove your line, and then just disconnect this clip right here, and then this line should come off and it should be free from the transmission. One thing though, please do not pinch your line. A lot of people pinch it. Don't do it. Just like either cap off your line or just put it upright, but do not, you know, clamp this. I think it's a really bad idea. That's not what I'm gonna be doing. And this is a great time to remove your clutch delay valve. So that's what I'm gonna be doing as well once we get this on the ground. But yeah. In case you were wondering what my setup is, it's basically like, I don't know how many inches this extension is, but I mean, it's kind of lengthy as you can see. And then I have a swivel adapter, and this is a spring-loaded one, which is great. So it stays upright. And I use this setup to basically remove all the bolts so far. So I just got that top one, which is pretty easy. And then all these lower ones, you can just really get with like a normal wrench. And then same with these three right here. And that upper one, that's gonna be, you can get it from down here. But since I'm removing the intake manifold, you can actually just fit like a normal wrench back there. And then you can easily get it. All right, and then, so removing the intake manifold is gonna be a pretty straightforward process. So if you have a stock airbox, it's the same thing, but you know, you gotta get your clamps right here, which is just a flathead. And the same with back there. All right, and now with those removed, now you have more access to everything. So what you're gonna wanna look out for is if you have a stock charge pipe, you're gonna have to remove the like entire thing. So you're gonna unplug your diverter valves, which would be right here. Just vacuumize and plug those, and then you have your clip right there. It just pops out, and then you have like another clamp over here to release the charge pipe, and then there's gonna be a bolt that secures it right there if you have a stock charge pipe. Once you get that out of the way, you remove your charge pipe. What you're gonna wanna do now is you're gonna wanna unplug your sensor right here. So this sensor is for your oil temperature or your coolant temperature. Now that that's removed, now you can see your intake manifold bolts. So depending on, you know, what year yours is, they'll have two bolts. So this is a bolt right here, and then these are nuts on a stud. So depending on what year, usually you'll have like two bolts here. They're 11 millimeters, not 10, so they look like 10s, right? But they're 11. And so there's like a series of bolts all throughout. You're gonna wanna remove all those. There's one back there. And then there's gonna be an evap tube thing. So let me see if I can get it there. So this is basically gonna be this right here. So you just squeeze on the sides and then kind of like pull down. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but you squeeze down on these, see those ridges? You squeeze that right there, and then on the other side, and then you pull down, and then there's a connector on the end as well, which you just push in and then pop out. Let's see if I can get it. All right, so I got it. So there's a connector, and then you just basically like click down and then pull out. And then once you unplug it from here, you can unplug it from here or from the throttle body, it's up to you. And then once you get that out of the way, there's gonna be your wiring. So I don't hook mine up, but I don't know if you can see that like holder thing, and then on the other side there's another one. So it basically slides into the intake manifold and it holds all your wires. So I never clip that back in just because, I mean, I think it's fine like this, and I work on my cars a lot, but yours is probably gonna be clipped in. So all you do is slide it down and then it'll be loose like this. And you're gonna have a connection for the throttle body, which is literally right here. So on the bottom side, you click and then it just comes out. And once you have that, you're gonna just watch out with your wires here. That's basically it. The intake manifold should come out. If you have stock inlets like me, I want to plug this. If you have stock inlets like me, it is gonna kind of get in the way. So there is like a bolt somewhere. So that like holder back there, you can remove. So you remove this breather tube, and then there's like a 10 mil, I think, you can get from the back. I usually just push this a little bit out of the way and I have enough room. But yeah, I'll see you guys after it's off. All right, so as you guys can see, I'm literally in my engine bay. Obviously, I'm careful not to break anything, but this is the update. So I got one of the bolts off. So if you can see that one goes into your starter. That one's a pain. It's really long. It's gonna be a E12. I would highly recommend getting one of these wrenches. It's small, and if you use like, I know I said you could use like a 12 point, but you might strip it. So I would really suggest just getting one of these, an E12, and then you can get in there and kind of get it. It's kind of tight. If you break it free, you can kind of do it by hand. They tend to get stuck, so a little trick is to like literally push down as you're turning it, and that'll help with loosening it, because it'll spin nicely and then it'll get stuck. But if you push down, it'll help with that. And then we have another bolt, which is right there. That one's going to be a E14, as you can see. I wouldn't use anything other than an E14 or E12 on these. I really wouldn't. If you strip these, you're kind of done for. And then I'm used to N55s. On N55s, you don't have this, so you can get that other bolt right over here with a wrench from the top. I don't know if I'm going to be able to anymore because of this stupid intake thing. But either way, I can get that one from the bottom. So as long as we get these two, we should be good. And then we should be able to drop the tranny. So I'm going to get these two removed, and I'm going to try to get that bolt from the top. If that doesn't work, we'll get it from the bottom. All right, so this bolt back here was a pain. I couldn't get any leverage. So what I did is I got my wrench, and then on the other side, I put a socket, and then to that, I put it to a wrench. And so then I'm able to tighten this, and it basically like spins it. And so I got it broken free. So just in case y'all need to use that trick. And then for that last, well, I guess not last, we have one more, but for that bolt, it is easier to get it from the bottom. So that's what I'm doing. We'll get that one loose, and then we'll just have that one right there. And then once all those are off, transmission should be ready to come off. So I'm gonna take both of those out, and tranny should be out. So now, I usually don't wear protection, but when it comes to brake fluid, you gotta wear protection. This stuff's deadly, man. All right, y'all, so as you can see, the tranny's missing. So she's out. I'm gonna show you guys what I did with my slave cylinder line. So I put it in a glove, as you can see, and then I put the hose in a finger, as you can see, and then I kind of made a knot to keep some of that fluid in there, and then I just tied it over there. It's wet here, so we probably have a rear main seal leak. Trying to see if it's the oil pan or the rear main seal, or even something else. Looks like it's coming from up there. It's hard to say where exactly it's coming from, but there you can see the pilot bearing and stuff. And then it looks like, it looks like it might have had a 335 IS clutch already. I mean, I don't know what these use stock. It's probably luck. Never mind, but yeah, this clutch was slipping really bad. So I hope the flywheel is in usable condition. We'll pop this out and we'll see. I want to see if I can figure out something with that, because I don't have a clutch alignment tool, and I was looking to get this done like today or tomorrow. So I'm gonna see if I can make something, or see if I can find one locally. But it looks like as long as you like center it, you'll be fine. I guess you just gotta be good at lining it up. But yeah, there's the transmission. The transmission looks all right. Nothing crazy. Just a tranny. It's really dirty, as you guys can see. And then all this stuff is shot. I mean, there's even some rust on it, which is crazy. It's not good. gonna have to clean that up with a brush. No play, well, a little bit, but not too crazy. Should be fine. And then the strawberry, man, this thing was so cooked. I mean, listen, look at that. It's just gone. So we're gonna get this cleaned up. I don't even think my pivot is there. I don't know, but she's out. And if you're wondering, no, I don't have a transmission jack. I just used a regular old jack. So that worked. Just be careful, because you can definitely like drop it and then crack it, and then that's not good. So just be careful, have a buddy help you. I mean, I did it alone, but it's always good to have someone help you. And then here's the top view. I will say it does help a lot if you have an engine bar. So like if you have the engine support bar, if you get the hook, and then you kind of support it just level, that'll help a lot. So when I install it, I'm gonna either use a cherry picker or an engine bar to keep the engine level, because the transmission kind of is like part of the engine mounting system. I mean, engine's literally like kind of loose, can move back and forth. I mean, it's kind of heavy, but. So yeah, let me pop that clutch off. I do have a 335 IS clutch I'm gonna throw on this, depending on how that flywheel looks, but let's see what it looks like. All right guys, so I got the clutch off, and here we can see the flywheel. It doesn't look too good. There's a lot of, I don't know if you can see that. That looks pretty bad. There's a lot of heat spots and all kinds of stuff, and I believe it's warped because I can feel some ridges. For example, right there, won't focus, but you can see kind of, it looks like it was only grabbing on the outer part of the flywheel. That's probably why it was slipping, and it was also, I believe, coated in oil. The clutch itself, it's also pretty bad. I mean, it looks like a 335 IS clutch though. It really does. I don't know. Tell me in the comments. It's still got some life left in it, surprisingly. Like, I don't think it's a clutch that's bad. I mean, obviously it's bad now, but there's still material left. It's just everything around it. I mean, check out this pressure plate. Look at that. You guys see that? That's cooked. So I'm gonna see if I can find a better condition flywheel locally. I guess I can try sanding it, see if that stuff goes away, but then I have to make sure it's not warped. But that's about it for tonight. I'll be making a part 2, and yeah, we'll wait for the parts to get here, and I'll make a part 2, and then we'll get it put back in. Till next time.